Hi, everybody. Welcome to NJ Thrive Small Business Webinars. Today is Tuesday, February 20th. You are attending our weekly webinar created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. I am your host. My name is Uzma Sheikh, and I'm a consultant here at NJSBDC. And NJSBDC stands for New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. We are a network and a statewide program powered by the SBA, which stands for Small Business Administration, and partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with three main things. Those three main things are no-cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one webinar that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. If you can see me and hear me okay, please put a 1 in the chat so that I'm aware that everything is working properly. If anything goes wrong in the middle, we'll try to get back on as soon as possible. Thank you all so much. Yep, I'm getting all the responses. Thank you. All right, moving on. The map that you see on the right here, that is, of course, the map of the state of New Jersey, divided up into all the counties, 21 counties of New Jersey. And wherever you see the small SBDC logo is where are the places where our regional centers are located. So if you ever want to go say hi in person, then all you have to do is go to njsbdc.com, find the regional center that is the closest to you, and just make an appointment, pop in and say hi. All right. Agenda. We have a couple of headlines that I'd like to share with you. So headlines are really just events, press releases, webinars, anything that is happening in the state of New Jersey that is relevant in the small business community. Then we have the presentation from our speaker, and then we have our Q&A session. And these are our headlines of the week. So SBA unveils updated equity action plan. Let me actually go through them briefly. And all these links will be shared as soon as I'm done sharing my screen. Then I will put them in the chat. Here we go. So press releases. Actually, before we move forward and I go into these headlines, why don't you all go in the chat and let me know where you're from, what you do, or what you plan to do with your small business. If you already have a small business, feel free to let us know your contact information, such as, your social media. So we can always follow each other and see what our network is doing. So first is a press release from the SBA. SBA unveils updated equity action plan to advance the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to investing in equity. Updates focus on providing access to capital and entrepreneurial support services, creating economic opportunities, and advancing our national economy. All right, so this was published on February 14th. Head of the SBA action plan. So the action plan is actually hyperlinked. So if you go to this press release and you would like to take a look at the action plan, feel free to do so. But this is the outline. Improve access to loan capital, improve access to procurement and contracting opportunities, access to disaster assistance, access to business counseling, training and services, just like the ones that SBDC provides, access to investment capital. So lots of good information, new information that is, of course, relevant, that may be relevant to you. So feel free to check this out. Okay, today's audience is on the roll. Everyone is responding. Thank you. Thank you for communicating everything. So I will take a look at the chat later on. But February 15th, NJEDA press release to hold monthly office hours highlighting innovation programs. So office hours will focus on innovation programs that benefit businesses and investors. This is monthly. So anything that any program that NJEDA publishes, releases, they will have office hours on. So if any participants have questions, they can go in and ask those questions. Office hours are encouraged for pre-seed, seed, early stage, and growth stage startup companies in the technology and life sciences industries, as well as investors seeking opportunities in innovative companies. Programs covered will include direct company investments, such as the Angel Match Program, investor benefits as the Investor Tax Credit Program, For a list of upcoming hours, there is a link provided. First Innovation Office Hours will be held on February 23rd. Make sure to check it out. All right, third is from business.nj.gov. You should always keep an eye on this website. This is from the state of New Jersey. So any updates, you should always check this weekly, monthly, and see what new things are coming up. Funding opportunities for faith-based and community organizations. Faith and community-based organizations, FBCOs, can leverage several grant programs offered by the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, OFBI, to enhance their services and reach within the community. And those grant programs include Freedom School Planning Grants, SE2D, Social Enterprise Entrepreneurship Development Project, special products such as these, social innovation, Project Atlas. And these are directions on how you can apply. Applications are due February 23rd, 2024 at 4 p.m. So 3 days from today. Going back to our slides. So those are all the headlines. As soon as I'm done sharing my screen, then I will put them in the chat. Things to keep in mind, some housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box. I see some of you have already put in some questions. If you would like to receive the slides from our presenter, then please complete our brief survey. And this webinar is being recorded, so you can rewatch it at your own convenience later on. Or if you have to leave early and you'd like to watch it then. All right, session 14th, we are doing register your business in New Jersey with no cost NJSBDC assistance. We have Vanessa today. We've been doing this for the past 13 sessions, so since November, and they have been very beneficial for our small business community. So Vanessa, welcome. I will stop sharing my screen. Go ahead and share yours.
All righty. Thank you so much. I appreciate all that information. It's really helpful. And thank you everybody for coming on. I'm going to share my screen. Again, thanks to Uzma for all that good info. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Share. Okay. Just give me 1 minute here. All righty, here we go. We should be good. All good?
I see your full screen. Yep, we're good.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So what to know about starting your new business and creating an LLC? That's the topic of today's presentation. If you, at the end of this presentation, would like a copy of the slides, we ask that you fill out a brief survey, and in doing so, you will get a copy of the slides, which are, I think, going to be very important because it'll have all the good resources and links that we took the time to put in, and that you can go back and explore and research on your own in the event that you have questions after the presentation and you want to take a look at those links and resources. So what we're going to discuss today is what to know about starting your new business. Even though we're going to focus primarily on the LLC today and the structure and formation and registration process of the limited liability company, I want to first go and give you a little bit of a background on where that fits into on the larger scale in terms of business structures that are out there. And it's helpful to not just know what you're doing in a vacuum, but to understand where it fits in a larger, within the larger picture of the business world. And just know, and I will say this repeatedly throughout the course of this presentation, that we are here to mentor, guide, assist, help in any way possible with your business needs, whether you're just starting out, whether you're in the process of ramping up, whether you have questions and you've been in business for quite a while and you just need a kind of a restart or a refresh, or just have general questions about operating and managing your business, our counselors are here to assist in all of that. And one of the biggest, I think, benefits that we offer as a network is we will walk through your formation and registration of your business. And that includes getting your tax ID number. So you don't have to pay a third party to get it done. You can do it yourself with our assistance, so you know that each step along the way, you're making the right choices and you're taking care of everything and understanding what you're doing. So to the presentation, business structures. We'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit about the formation and registration process, a little bit about the New Jersey, doing business in New Jersey. Each state has its own regulations and licensing requirements for certain businesses. So we'll discuss that a little bit. I'm going to touch upon the financial investment that it takes to open a business and what you should be thinking about as you are preparing and getting your ducks in a row with respect to startup costs and thinking even ahead with respect to your operations and operating cash flows. Any additional needs that are necessary for businesses, what's out there, and just if you're also in thinking ahead, usually with business and startup, we think short-term goals, we think long-term goals, but what are next steps in terms of opportunity and growth, and how would you go about in achieving them? So with respect to business structure, the first one I'm going to speak about today is the sole proprietorship. This is the simplest, no frills business structure, if you want to call it a structure, that you can put together for yourself if you are looking to be an entrepreneur. It requires the filing in order to obtain your trade name, but it's done right at the county clerk's office. So depending on what county you live in, you'll go on to the county website, go to the clerk's office, and you should see something, apply for a trade name. It costs about $50, $60 one time. You apply for your trade name. Your trade name will be unique within your county, and you will be able to, once obtaining that trade name, be able to register the trade name with the Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services for tax purposes. Now, as I said, it's very relatively inexpensive. You may use your Social Security number as your tax ID, or you may also go and get an EIN, that is an employer identification number from the IRS, directly from the IRS. Right on the website, there's apply online now. It doesn't cost anything. You can get a tax ID number for your sole proprietor if you choose, but it's important to know that you do not have to. It is not mandated by the state to have an EIN for your sole prop. Social Security number is perfectly fine. We always like to say now, in the days of trying to protect your identity and protect yourself financially, why not get an EIN? Because if you have to, throw that tax number around, depending on if you're filling out a number of W-9s or need it for purchasing inventory or for a reseller's license, they're always going to ask for your tax ID. Maybe best to protect yourself and just get one free that would be assigned to your sole proprietorship from the IRS. Your personal banking accounts are perfectly acceptable to use in your business as sole prop. You don't need to open up a separate business bank account. Whatever transactions that occur, whatever money you accept, whoever transfers money, via Venmo, Zelle, perfectly fine for it to just deposit right into your personal bank account. You are allowed to commingle your personal with your business. And the taxation for a sole prop is very simple. You are going to be using what's known as the Schedule C attachment to your personal income tax return, which is just basically for the IRS considered to be the additional income tax filing attachment, where whether you're a 1099 or you're doing the business out on your own and you're earning income, you can use the Schedule C to record all your sales for the year, as well as any business expenses you may have incurred, and your tax burden will be on the net income of what's reported using that Schedule C. The downside is There is absolutely no liability protection. You are the business is you. If anything were to occur, any assets that are held not only within the business, but within your personal life could be impacted. Given that there is no legal separation between your assets, personal assets, and your business assets, then you are at risk. So usually we see sole proprietorships for, potentially you might see a hobby kind of turned into a business, relatively low risk, not a lot of worry about being sued. Anytime you really step up that business structure to the point where you're involving other people and making investments in assets, incurring additional potential risk, or really looking to grow and stand alone as a business, we really would encourage you to look at that next level up, which we're going to talk about, which is the LLC, the limited liability company. What's nice about an LLC is that it's not much more to form. So instead of $50, $60 at the county clerk's office, you're now dealing directly with the state. New Jersey, the state Department of State handles all business formations beyond sole proprietorship. In this, within context of this presentation, we're talking about kind of that next level up from a sole prop, the LLC. You can do it right online. Go to the state website. You will be prompted at the end of the formation piece to pay your $128. And the difference here is that as opposed to the sole proprietorship, the LLC does require a $75 per year annual dues fee to pay to maintain your LLC and keep it in good standing. The $75 gets paid right online. It's called filing an annual report. You are not doing any real annual reporting. It's not as cumbersome as it sounds. You'll get a notification maybe a couple of months before your anniversary of the formation, and you'll be prompted to go online, and you'll be told that your dues are due. Time to file that annual report. And it really is just a matter of logging in, making sure that nothing's really changed in terms of your address and information, and putting your debit or credit card in and paying your dues. That's filing an annual report. So very simple. With the LLC, you are required to get a tax ID number from the IRS. Again, that is called the EIN. And once again, I'm going to say it a million times, it's free. It does not cost anything. Don't get caught on a third-party website thinking you are with the IRS, and in fact, you are not. And at the end of the application, being prompted to pay $200-300. It's tricky. It looks legit, and it has tripped up a lot of people. And I can say that even from personal experience, when I first started learning a lot about how to do this type of work within New Jersey and setting up businesses, it's very compelling to think that you're getting an EIN from a legit source, and it is not. The only place you should get your EIN from is the irs.gov website. And if you work with us, we'll walk you through the process. We'll make sure you get your EIN. The EIN application online will prompt you to put the legal business name in that should match the legal business name that you're going to be using in the formation application. The name is unique in New Jersey. So as opposed to the sole proprietorship, when you were unique in your county, now you're unique in the state of New Jersey. So you have to make sure that name is available. There are links further on in this presentation. You'll see where you can go to check to make sure your name is available. You are required, once you get to the LLC level of structure, to have a separate business banking account. You are no longer now allowed to commingle your transactions with your personal finances. So if you were to make a sale, sell a good, provide a service, you are paid, the payment goes into the business bank account. The check is made out to the business name, not to you personally. Everything is done on behalf of the business and using the business legal name and the business tax ID. Now, the best thing, one of the best things that the LLC offers is that even though it's a step above, it does provide the liability, limited liability. It does give you a business structure separate from you personally. You are still allowed, if you're the only owner, known as a single payer, single owner, single member. Those are all the same things in the LLC terminology. If you're the only person filing, you are still allowed to use that simple Schedule C tax filing, which is used by the sole proprietor. The federal government allows LLCs to choose how they wish to be taxed, and single member LLCs default to that Schedule C tax filing. If you are more than one person and you are a multi-member LLC, that means that you will default to a Form 1065. That is the form generally used for tax purposes in partnerships. You're not legally a partnership. That has other legal ramifications in terms of its structure and liability, but you're taxed as a partnership. So that's if you're more than one, and then both single members as well as multi-member LLCs also have the choice at some point in their history, in their, their journey of being a business owner. There might become a time where it becomes tax advantageous to be taxed as a corporation. And so that's sort of your third choice. And we'll talk a little bit about that going forward in the presentation, but just know that as an LLC owner, you have choices in how you wish to be taxed. The corporation is the most complex of the business structures that we're discussing today. They require a little bit more detail in terms of the formation. You are required as a corporation to create bylaws. You are supposed to create a board of directors. There are mandatory requirements for shareholder meetings, and taxation is much more complicated. The company itself must file a separate tax return for the company. So the company is its own person. In that respect, if you want to look at it that way, it has its own tax return. And what that means is that the company itself has its own corporate tax rate. So when you get to that net income line, you'll be assigned a corporate tax rate on the income. Taxes, corporate taxes will be paid. And then whatever is left over is basically shareholder income. And then you, as the owner of the corporation and as the shareholder, must then pay taxes on your dividends. So that is why it is often referred to as the penalty of a double taxation. When you're a very, very big company, I guess it doesn't quite matter. I mean, you'll see lots of arguments, especially during political times, of who wants to keep the corporate tax rate high, who wants to keep it low. So you might hear that quite a bit. But the idea of a small business, one or two people company incorporating and proceeding as the full-fledged corporation, it may not really make sense, but it's done, and there are reasons why. Mostly because of the strong liability protection. There are certain industries that are best served being incorporated, meaning that there are only there are vendors and partners that would only business partners that only really want to do business if you're incorporated, because there's risk, there's insurance, there's issues, and they want to make sure that you're fully protected, fully capitalized, that there's kind of more to it, structure. And you can think of, sometimes you'll see this in trucking companies or in general contractors, building contractors. So there, again, certain industries where maybe incorporating makes most sense. But one of the things that we'll talk about in the next slide is that if you do decide to incorporate and you are a small business, you do have an option to do something to avoid that double taxation. Now, I just want to add before we move on that once again, we did address it slightly when we were talking about the sole proprietorship. Once you get your trade name, you have to then go and take that trade name, take your social security number, and you have to register with Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. You have to register that business so the New Jersey knows you're ready to go and you're ready to pay taxes and that you're fully aware of all the regulations. And it's basically what you'll hear people refer to as the NJ reg. Same goes with the LLC, same goes with the corporation. Once each structure is legally formed, a tax ID is acquired, all companies have to then take that last step called the NJ reg, NJ registration. Does not cost anything. It's free, doesn't take too long. You can do it right online, but just know you are not legally allowed to transact business in New Jersey without that registration certificate. And this is the biggest pitfall we have seen. There are many people out there who form, they legally form, they get their certificate of formation and or their articles of incorporation, or they'll get their trade name from the county clerk's office and they'll start working. But what they did not do is they did not go and register to do business. And that's a problem. You know, where it becomes problematic, sometimes you may go under the radar and you didn't realize, and then one day you're doing business and someone asks you for your registration certificate and you don't have one. It was a big problem during COVID when the state was providing a lot of programs and incentives and breaks to businesses who were suffering. And one of the first things that was asked of the businesses when they were applying for the relief was their business registration certificate. And we really did encounter many who didn't realize that they didn't have one. So that's why I want to say, even if you do a third party, please double check with us, make an appointment. We'll make sure you're registered. And if you're not, we'll walk you through that process. It is somewhat something I don't quite understand why when you pay all that money to a LegalZoom or Zen Business, or even when your accountant does it, they'll charge you for the service to legally form the business. However, they do not take the time to register you. That's something you have to do. And I think it would be nice if they could remind you of that. But from my understanding and dealing with so many small businesses, they're never told at the end of the day when they get their package, hey, you got to register. They really don't know. And we're telling you here, you have to register. Okay, so you're a corporation. Typically, the traditional corporation is a C Corp. And what you can do if you do decide to incorporate and you're a small business is that you can register to apply for S Corp status. S Corp status is a tax designation for corporations that pulls out the corporate tax rate document, tax paperwork. And instead of having to pay a corporate tax rate and then shareholder dividends, the S Corp filing allows the pass-through for owners to get the income, depending on the number of owners, to flow directly back into to fill out paperwork so that they can pay their respective share of the taxes from the company without having that first corporate tax rate, separate tax filing that's for the what would be considered traditional C Corp. Now, S Corps are corporations who file for S Corp tax status. So, not to confuse you, but there is a time and a place when a limited liability company can choose to be taxed as if it was an S Corp. it doesn't become an S corp. It's not the same as the C corp that, a corporation that, files to be an S corp. What the LLC does is it makes a tax designation that it would like to choose to be taxed as an S corp, just like it can choose to be taxed as a partnership if there's more than one, and as a single member, it can choose to be taxed as a sole proprietor. The reason why LLC owners sometimes choose to be taxed as an S corp is because their net income has gotten so. One of the reasons, I'm not an accountant, there could be others, but it could be that the profitability has gotten to a point where the self-employment taxes have become so burdensome that in order to enjoy some sort of a tax shield, being taxed as an S corp allows the business owner to be an employee on payroll of his or her company. That changes things on the tax line. It allows for the owner to have payroll deductions as if they were working for a company. So they're paying their fair share of withholding as the employee, and as the employer, they're paying into the payroll expense, which is deductible. And at the end of the day, whatever income is left, the owner would then go ahead and pay taxes on what the income that's left. But you'll see that by taking an agreed upon acceptable, what would be considered an acceptable salary for the role they're playing in their business, they can choose to be taxed as an S corp, and then that could help them. It could be more tax advantageous for them at the end of the day, as opposed to filing that Schedule C and paying full self-employment on the net income. So I don't worry if this sounds completely foreign to you. It's not meant to be an accounting lesson today. We really even shouldn't have spent that much time on it. I try to explain it as best as I can. It's for the purposes of you to hear it once, to know that this is out there, and to do your own research, to talk to your accountant, to talk to us privately. It's not to become experts in corporate tax accounting, because certainly I'm not. And this presentation isn't really about that, but we want you to hear it so you know it going into being business owners. Okay, moving on. All right, now we're just going to focus right now on the limited liability company. We want you to get it right the first time. We don't think you need to pay a third party to do what you can do for yourself. And it's set up for you to do it for yourself because it's all online. However, we will acknowledge that it's not intuitive. How would you know necessarily where to go, what to do, maybe how to answer certain questions if you've never done this before? So that's what we're here for. We sit with you over the phone or in person, and we guide you start to finish with the formation of your LLC, the obtaining of your tax ID number from the IRS, and then we will go ahead and get you properly registered so you're ready to go. The whole process, start to finish, takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and it can be done on your lunch break. So it's that simple in terms of mechanically going through it, but I wouldn't say it's simple in that when you have somebody walking you through it, then you get it and you can get through it. And then we don't just leave you out to the curb and say good luck. Follow-up questions, am I doing this right? Did I set myself up properly? What do I need to do from here? We're here to mentor you through this process. We want you to know the terminology. That's why we explain everything the way we did prior, into some of the prior slides on some of the terms that we use in LLC and business world. We want you to familiarize yourself with the portal. The NJ portal is where you go for all your business needs. Everything that you need is really either on the portal or it's at the IRS website. That's where you want to be if you need to get a DBA, doing business as, if you need to pay your annual dues, if you need a certificate of good standing. All of that can be found right on the government website. We want to make sure you understand all your obligations and your legal requirements as business owners. We want to make sure that you're aware of the important papers that will get generated as we form and register the business, so you know you can keep them accessible for what you need to do. And if you have questions about how you are going to proceed in terms of bookkeeping, we can discuss options for that. We have offered QuickBook classes. We really are here to try to assist in any way possible. We do offer and have a lot of webinars that have been done in the past that are in our digital library that you could tap into. So we're kind of just here to mentor you through the process. I'm not going to go into this again, but there's my big speech that I probably should have saved for this slide. Don't forget to register once you form. And the other thing is that there's a new federal requirement. Once you form an LLC now in New Jersey, if you form after January 1st, 2024, and even if you formed prior, but let's just take if you formed prior, the government's giving you a year to fill out this report. If you form now since January 1st, you can, I think they give you 60 days or 90 days to go, and this is the website. It's called a beneficial ownership information report. It's basically the federal government wants to know who you are, who the owner is of your LLC that you formed, your business name. I think they ask for percent share, and then you just hit submit. It's to create a database for the federal government. In the past, the LLCs really were kind of state designated business structures with my understanding is that, when you register, you provide all that information to your state where your LLC is formed. And I think LLCs have probably become tools for money laundering, crime, phony accounts. There's so much flexibility, I'm guessing, with the LLC. The federal government wants to make sure no one is, this probably gives them extra eyes, I guess, on business owners who are possibly, I'm not saying anybody's doing that, but evading their taxes. Okay. So when we go to form your LLC, we're going to need a unique business name. There's that beautiful link I refer to that you can search availability in New Jersey to see what names are available. You'll need your IRS, from the IRS, your EIN, free. We walk you through it. We'll help you figure out your business codes. There are some industry classification, 2 sets of codes that we have to come up with in the type of business primarily that you're engaging in, usually kept for statistical purposes. We need to have a registered agent. Every business formed in a state needs a registered agent in that state. Not for the sole proprietor, but when you get to the LLC corporation, you need to have a registered agent. Registered agents are really just, you could be your own registered agent. The mail will come to you. All correspondence regarding your business will come to you. If you want to hire a registered agent, there are registered agent locations in New Jersey. You can certainly do that. It's basically the address of record for the state to reach somebody definitively in the event they have to contact you regarding your business. So the point being is it can't be a PO box. So that's the registered agent. If you're more than one person, you will need an operating agreement. It doesn't have to be done by a lawyer, but it does have to be done. Meaning you're getting into business with somebody else, and you're going to want to have, on paper, all your information with respect to ownership, your profit sharing, how much capital contribution you're going to each invest in the business, what will be responsibilities, and probably one of the most important pieces of information that needs to be held within the operating agreement is what happens if the company were to dissolve tomorrow. How would the assets be distributed? How would the debts be paid? Who gets what? So operating agreement, very important if you're a multi-member LLC. The state will take a debit or credit card for your online payment, $125 to form, $350 processing fee, or you can pay by e-check. And then you'll need to know the names, addresses, social security numbers, and the ownership percentages of all the members prior to forming and registering. We'll have to have that handy. And as we discussed, with the LLC, you choose your taxation method. You'll need to know how you wish to be taxed. So you'll have that option. You'll check the one that applies to you. You're going to need to know if the sale of your goods and or services are subject to New Jersey state sales tax, and if you're eligible to make exempt purchases. So that means if you are selling goods in New Jersey to people who are in New Jersey, or shipping goods to people in New Jersey, and that good is subject to state sales tax, you are responsible for charging the tax, collecting it, holding it, and remitting it quarterly back to the Division of Taxation. So we can go through all of that, explain how to do that. First and foremost, you need to know whether what you're selling is subject to sales tax. So we'll be able to show you the booklet that New Jersey puts forth that has all that information. You know, for example, clothes are generally exempt from sales tax in New Jersey, but scarves aren't. So if you are selling something that requires collection of the tax, it will be your responsibility to know that, and the responsibility to collect, hold, and remit the funds. Same thing goes for services. Even though many services are exempt from sales tax, there are services that are not. And the booklet will go through that. And a perfect example is I had always thought that maybe cleaning services would be exempt from sales tax, but they're not. If you hire a either residential or commercial cleaning service, the business owners are supposed to be charging you sales tax. And then there are always going to be some additional registrations, certifications, licenses, insurance requirements, not necessarily, but could be. And it's going to depend on what industry you're in, what profession you're working within. Home health aides and home health care agencies require a home health license. Contractors, home improvement, handymen require a general contractor's registration. So it's important to understand what is required. There are food safety certifications that are required. And sometimes, for example, like with food trucks, there are, permits that are required in order to operate your food truck. And that is actually done on a town by town basis. So these are the types of things that we would help you determine for your business and show you the sites on the New Jersey State website where to find out more about it. And then you'll need to identify a bank where you will do your business banking. You definitely want to find a bank that is friendly and that does not charge fees. Small businesses do not need to pay monthly fees. You don't want to do that. There are plenty that don't. And I always say start with where maybe you personally bank, see if they can set something up with you. If not, we can always talk about other choices that are out there. This is another example of a great page with all the links of some of the things we discussed, the licenses and registration requirements, sales tax requirements, that's the booklet. There are income tax requirements as business owners. Once you get going and start earning income, both the IRS and the Department of Treasury of New Jersey don't wish to wait until April 15th every year to get your taxes. You will have to get into the groove and learn about how to set up estimated income tax filings. My understanding this day and age is that they've made it pretty simple. You can, I think, do it right on an app. You could talk to your accountant how to set that up, what seems appropriate. At the end of the year, if you've paid too much into your income taxes, you'll get money back. If you didn't pay enough, you'll owe. But the last thing you or the government want is to have your tax burden be smacked in your face on April 14th, because they're at risk of losing money, and then there's trouble, and then you are coming up with a big tax burden, and you will be penalized. They're not going to look kindly on that, and you could potentially be penalized. So other things to consider is if you're going to start a payroll, whether your payroll is going to be employees using the payroll expense and deduction with the W-2, W-4 setup, or if you're going to hire independent contractors where you're not going to be withholding payroll taxes for your employees. They are independent, and you would have them fill out a W-9 to do the work. And at the end of the year, you pay them for their services. You don't withhold any taxes. You issue what's known as a 1099, and they are then responsible for filing their own income taxes. And you probably need to know and understand whether or not your business requires buying into workers' comp. I'd say we address this a little bit, the funding and cash management. Startups are going to need to have a little bit of money to get going. You'll know what you need initially. Some things are more capital intensive in terms of the business you're trying to start. Some aren't. Think about what you need immediately to start up. What are your immediate cash needs to kind of get that first sale handled? And then what will you need to keep that business flowing and operating? What are the operating cash needs? You know, if you need help looking out and projecting your income statement for the year, we're happy to do that with you so you can have an idea, do your sales, cover your expenses, basically. Personal budget considerations, you'll need to think about how much of your own money you wish to invest to get the business going, and will or will you not potentially need additional sources of capital. You looking for maybe a startup business loan for some initial capital infusion to get that business off the ground. These are the types of things that we do. We can help you prep for lending and really help you understand what the lender is looking for in terms of business experience, credit rating, what your own investments are going to be. And the one thing I want to say about basic financial statements is that it is to your advantage to take advantage of all our financial literacy classes, seminars, webinars, one-on-one counseling. Even if you're on YouTube, look a couple things up, listen to a couple of, whatever you can to really understand what an income statement is, what your balance sheet is, and cash flow and the differences. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are, over time, taking in each month more than what you're spending, or at least over a period of time. When the year is all said and done, did you make money? And that's what the whole point. That's the whole point of the whole thing, is you want to make money. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you become more literate in terms of financial terms and management of books. It's not the fun stuff. It's not the reason why you want to go into business. You all probably have an expertise in something, a trade, or you like the flexibility, or there's something you're really good at, or you've had years of experience and you want to do it for yourself. That's great. And I imagine that is why you're looking into entrepreneurship. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the business sense as well and understand certain financial principles, and you don't have to become experts per se, but work with somebody who is, get a mentor. Maybe you're in a position to hire a good accountant. Just make sure that you are understanding the ins and outs of your finances. And that goes into additional needs. There may be a time and a place when hiring an accountant is going to be important. There are certain transactions as small business owners that I would not do without a lawyer. Insurance, you don't want to pay too much. You don't want to pay too little. Who knows more about insurance than the insurance agent? So you really got to make sure that you're talking to people who know what they're doing, and you have to know that what's the expression? I don't know what I don't know, and that's why it's good to let as much as possible take advantage of the resources that are available to you to do all your research if you have questions. Even with marketing and social media, we have counselors that just specialize in that. So if that's something that you want to know about, that's not my area of expertise. I get, you know, hives when I think of Google search engines, and I don't even know what I'm talking about, to be honest. And that there are people who do. And so, why not have a conversation? We have those counselors on staff, and they'd be happy to help you. And basically, all around, um, having that business mentor. The other thing the SBDC does is we will assist you in getting any state certifications if you're interested in procurement or government contracting. It's a great little area of business. It can really help small businesses get on the map in terms of some consistency and getting some larger forms of income and sales coming in the door. We can assist with that. Again, if you have questions on SBA lending, we can make the introductions. We can teach you, show you, prepare you with your business plan and any kind of financial forecast that you'll need for borrowing. The NJEDA is a tremendous state website that offers assistance in and incentives and programs to help small businesses. So we can always, you can check it out for yourself, but you can also work with us. We have certain people on staff who help with applications with some of the programming that's out there. And then our library through the NJSBDC has many webinars and upcoming events. You can check everything out on our website and see if something applies to you that you might be interested in taking advantage of. And that is it. So if you are not in business and are looking to get into business, I would suggest that you want help with that formation registration piece, scan the top QR code, and that'll bring you to services that will really start with you from the beginning. If you are already in business and you were looking for a mentor, a counselor, or any of the other things that we discussed that would benefit you, I would scan the bottom code. And if you get a copy of the slides, you'll be able to click right on here and here as well so that you can get to the area. Both will setups take you to the SBDC and get you assigned to a counselor. We're just trying to navigate it a little bit more cleanly for you so that if you're not in business, you get directed to a group that's going to do nothing but help with formations and registrations. So that would be the top QR code. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to questions.
Right. Thank you so much, Vanessa. That concludes the presentation, but we now go into the Q&A session. So just before going into the Q&A session, let me just remind everybody a couple of things. So this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on our video library that I've shared those links in the chat. It will be available in our video library. So in 1 to 2 business days, just keep an eye out there. And if not the video library, you can also just go to YouTube and search up NJSBDC, NJ Thrives, and you can find it there. In addition, if you'd like to receive the slides that Vanessa just presented, all you have to do is complete the brief survey, and you will, it's a Google form. Once you complete it on the submission page, it will give you a link. All you have to do is click on that link. It'll take you to a Google Slides as a view page as a viewer, and you can download them on your own. All right, awesome. Moving on to the Q&A. If you are putting questions in the chat, please put them in the Q&A box. Otherwise, we'll miss them. And we'll try our best to answer all your questions, but if your questions require a one-on-one counseling session, then we recommend that you please reach out to us via the QR code or via njsbdc.com/startup, the first link that you see. and we'll do our best to have that one-on-one conversation with you instead of giving you a hasty answer in the span of 1 to 2 minutes. All right, first question from Robert Bob, who asks, any issue with established PALC doing business in New Jersey?
I'm sorry, Uzma, can you say that again? I missed
Sure.
the acronym what you used.
Bob is asking if there would be any issues with his established Pennsylvania PALC doing business here in New Jersey.
Oh, gotcha. So if you're if you're a Pennsylvania formed LLC and you want to do business in New Jersey and have and I would need to know more information about what the extent of the business is in New Jersey. But if it's just a matter of you physically being here and having a presence and wanting to do business in New Jersey as well, it's cool. And it's a great question. And when you go to form, and it's something we could help you with, you can select form a foreign LLC. Foreign LLCs are LLCs that have been already formed in another state. And in order to transact business in New Jersey, then and you're for various reasons, there are reasons why you would have to form a foreign. It's done right on the same website. You just pick, instead of picking domestic LLC, you pick foreign LLC. And that allows you to take that Pennsylvania LLC and register to do business in New Jersey. And that's that's something that you probably want to make an appointment to discuss. Not everybody necessarily has to do that. But that is required if you're doing business with any state sponsored organizations, or if you have a physical location where you're coming to New Jersey physically and you're working in New Jersey, you will have to register as a foreign.
Got it. Next question is from Anonymous. Can you start the business because it is small and then upscale and file separately? There are some details missing there, so I'm not exactly sure what they mean. But if you get
I'm gonna guess what is meant there is that, can you form an LLC, maybe a Schedule C filer, simple, but then down the road decide that as you grow, you want to change your tax designation to something different? Absolutely, you can do that.
Okay. Next question is from, Anonymous. I have EIN number. Oops. Okay, Marilyn said that was it, what you just suggested. Anonymous asked, I have EIN number from my previous business that I closed during COVID. Can I use the same EIN number for a different kind of business that I'm planning to register now?
No. If you closed, then you got to tell me what your definition of closed means. Do you mean that you're just not doing it anymore and it's just still out there? If that's the case and you never officially closed it, you can certainly change purpose. If that LLC is existing, it's in good standing, you're paying into the $75 but every year, but haven't done anything with it. Even if you want to change the name, you can do all that as long as you make sure that the names match. You'll have to alert the IRS. But if you officially closed it legally, then no, any new LLC that is formed through the portal has to have a fresh EIN assigned to it.
Okay. Next question is from Anonymous, who asks, any waivers for filing fees?
No.
Short and sweet. EA asks, how do we do the New Jersey registration?
And it's right on the portal. If you get a copy of this presentation, actually it's in one of the links. So if you want to go ahead and you've already, know that you have your LLC, you have your tax ID, and you want to register, actually, I will show you. We'll go back. You'll see it's here. I think it's on one of these slides right here. This is how you'll go back in. It'll ask you for your company identification number, which is on the top of your certificate of formation. and it'll ask you for your EIN. Once you plug those two numbers in, your company should pop right up and you can follow the prompts through the registration. If you want to do it with one of us, make an appointment, we'll walk you right through it.
All right, next question from Marie. Do you register the sole proprietorship business?
Yes, you're supposed to register your sole proprietor. So if you went to the county, you got a trade name and it's stamped and, trade name assigned to, you're supposed to go on that same website. I know I just pointed to a website, and obviously it helps if you have the slides because you could click on it. But just know if you go to njportal.com, easy to remember, njportal.com, you can scroll right down. You'll be able to click on a business registration. It'll take you right there. And when they ask you what kind of business do you want to register, you'll see the choices, and you'll pick the one that says sole proprietor.
All right, next question is from Albert. Albert says, I am planning by next year to start a vehicle transport business that will have multiple partners. Do all these partners have to live in New Jersey in order to receive a startup business grant?
Well, the business grant is assigned to the business. So if the business is a New Jersey business, New Jersey registered business, and you're looking for grants that are only applicable for New Jersey businesses, you should be fine. Some grants do have stipulations about having a certain number of employees, but I'm not, it sounds like there could be more info I'm missing, or maybe some more detail that would help me answer your question better. But your business owners don't have to live in New Jersey. You could have owners that are in different states, but the business is formed and registered in New Jersey, and it could apply for state grants.
Got it. And we can certainly help with those grants, or finding them, applying for them. This wouldn't exactly be related to startup, but our other consultants can certainly help you with those. And you would have to just request for counseling that is non-startup. Okay, we're done with that question. Marcia asks, is this information for New Jersey-based businesses only, or is it also for oh, that moved up, excuse me. Continuing, or is it also for those located in other states?
Today's presentation, well, my counsel and presentation on the forming of the LLC was based on New Jersey formation and registration of LLCs. I mean, I'm talking, this is all about New Jersey. General comments and topics such as the differences between an LLC and a corporation and the S Corp situation, and just the general topics about the financial literacy. Obviously that can apply to any business, but yeah, but in terms of formation and what I keep referring back to the portal, I mean, I'm focused on how it's done in New Jersey. Mm-hmm.
Got it. In that same vein, Vanessa, we do have another question from Pankaj, who says he's from India. He has a question. So we can both answer this question, but just coming from you, are we able to provide our services to any non-New Jersey resident?
Yes, you don't have to live here to do business here. What we can't do is our New Jersey SBDCs do not counsel companies outside of New Jersey or outside the country that don't have that aren't either registered to do business here or looking to be registered to do business here. If that makes sense. You don't have to physically live here to do business in New Jersey, but your business does have to be registered, and you have a registered agent.
Yes, exactly. That goes for all our offerings, all our services. You can, of course, be in India or anywhere in the world and watch these webinars that we offer, any events, online events that we offer. There's no restrictions on that. However, there are restrictions on who we can provide our services to. So if your business is not in New Jersey, if you are not a New Jersey resident, and planning to do business here, then unfortunately, you will have to look for SBDC services somewhere else in the state, because the SBDC program, it is a federal program and it is a nationwide program. So let's say if you're from Texas, if you're from California, New York, wherever else you are, there will be an SBDC service in your state. So all you have to do is just Google your state name, SBDC, and you'll find SBDC services located near you. All right, moving on to the next question from Sade. I registered my business name and trade name, but I noticed that my business trade name is still available as a business name for a new business. How is that possible?
Because the only thing that, if you're going on the site to check name availability for the state, like for the LLC, it only combs through all the legal business names in the state. So there can't be the same name as statewide. If in order to see if a name is available, you have to make sure that there's no other business in the state that has that name as its legal business name. It does not come through trade names. So that makes sense. If you have a DBA or doing business as, that means that you filed an alternate business name. And you did that at your own discretion. You picked, a different name. But somebody else who wants to make that their legal name, and if it's available, can do so. That's my understanding. Usman, I don't know if that's your understanding, but it's very particular. The link to check to see if your business name is available will come through only legal formed businesses names, not trade names.
That was also my understanding, yeah. Okay, next question from Lena, who asks, as an LLC, can you apply for government contract of MWBE?
Yes. If you form your LLC and you're interested in contracting and you want to get a state certification, we can help you through it. The state certification is an online process. Provisional certification is granted for 1 year. And then after that, there's additional paperwork and documentation needed in order to continue. But for the provisional, doesn't require too much documentation. You can be a new business. Again, it's all found on the portal, and we can help you. We assist people all the time in getting their woman-owned business, their minority-owned business, veteran, disabled, and LGBTQ business certifications, all for New Jersey, which does set you up nicely if you are interested in contracting and procurement.
Yep. And we can counsel on that, and we also have webinars on that. So just go through our video library. Okay, Aaliyah asks, I've been seeking information on changing my LLC name and info by calling directly, yet no answer or help thus far. Any advisement?
Yes. Unfortunately, we are in a world where making phone calls is very difficult. If you want to change your business name, you can do it right on the portal. It's called filing an amendment. So you go to njportal.com. I can't think of the path, but that's where you can start. But everything is found on the portal. But this transaction is called filing an amendment. And what that'll allow you to do is you put in your company identification number, and the date that you formed, and your business comes up, and then you indicate what you'd like to do. And actually, it's in that screen that you can file for an alternate business name if you wish, or you can file to make a change to your legal business name. And unfortunately, though, New Jersey does charge $100 for amendments. But once you do that, you pay your $100, you get your new certificate of formation, and you make sure that the IRS is aware of your business name change. You don't have to get a new EIN, but you do have to alert the IRS in a letter. And then you have to go to the bank and make sure the bank is aware of the new legal name. And anyone else who needs to know.
Yep. All right, thank you. Next question is, okay, so anonymous, how do I set up my business as a Black woman-owned business? We can provide services. If you are looking for certifications, if you're looking for procurement opportunities, certification opportunities, we can definitely help you. But if your question is geared more towards setting up your LLC, then please register to talk with Vanessa at njsbdc.com/startup, or you can scan that QR code, the first one at the top. And we can counsel you. So thank you for asking that. Next question is from Catherine. If I have an LLC and set up a bank account for it, but the bank doesn't accept cash deposits, what are the implications of transferring cash from your personal account to your business account from cash sales? Interesting question.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat in that question. My first thought is I don't know why the bank, and I could just mean maybe I don't know everything, and I don't know the answer to this. I can't imagine that a bank wouldn't take a cash deposit. Now, I wonder if there are certain restrictions on business banking. I have a business bank account. I have my own business. Plenty of people have cash-driven businesses where transactions are still done in cash.
Can I just interrupt for a moment there?
Yes, if you can, if you know.
Catherine followed up and said lots of fee-free banks are online and don't take cash deposits.
Oh, because they're gotcha. Well, how else? Okay, there's not like a brick and mortar location that you can go and make a deposit. Ah, yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, you may have to get a brick and mortar location because what I do know is that there are a lot of restrictions on cash apps for business banking. Very few banks even will delve into that. There are a few, and make an appointment. We can talk you through it. I just counseled someone on this recently, and we looked it up. Zelle is accepted. Venmo, I don't see much, but Zelle is accepted at a couple of businesses for business banking purposes. But it's not the norm. I do think cash-based businesses, if that's the way you're going to go, and the only way to deposit that money is to like walk into a branch and deposit it, you may have to just do that then. I'm not aware of how you would handle that on an online. Sorry.
Got it. Alyssa will be coming in through a counseling session. We had a brief conversation in the chat, so we'll take care of that for you, Alyssa. I'm so sorry. I was mentioning your last name, Catherine. All right, next question. So we have a couple of questions. We are hitting the 1:17 p.m. mark. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. We'll take a couple more questions. So Rashmi says, when I register my company, I pay the state filing fee. Is that correct? Is the EIN a separate process than the state filing fee? And then they've mentioned some couple of other things. Rashmi, I recommend that you reach out for a one-on-one counseling session. But for now, we can answer this question for you. When I register my company, Vanessa, she says, I pay the state filing fee. And is the EIN a separate process from the state filing fee?
Yes. The EIN is on the IRS.gov. It's separate, completely separate. The state filing fee is prompted at the end of the formation application online. You're prompted for payment, $125 plus $350 processing. Comes out to about $128.50. The last step is to register the business, which doesn't cost anything. So the only time that you're paying any money for the 3-step process is in the legal formation of the business, which is the state, I guess, the state filing fee. I've heard it referred to as that. And that's done and when you're forming the LLC in the formation process. Now, it's a little confusing because when you're in the formation, there is a little link that says, hey, do you need an EIN? And you're like, yeah, I do. And you click on the link and you think you're all in the same web process, but you're not. That little link brings you to the IRS website. And now you're on the IRS website. It's just a courtesy. They say, hey, if you need an EIN, click here. And if you're doing this on a phone or if you're doing this like on an iPad, it may not be clear to you, but what it did was it actually went to the IRS.gov webpage. You're processing your EIN all through the IRS. You get that EIN, and then you're really good heading back to the tab that you were on, which was your state, New Jersey state filing for a certificate of formation.
All right, thank you. And we'll take a last question from Anonymous. I am employed as a consultant. I receive a 1099 form at the end of the year. I make estimated tax payments throughout the year and file a Schedule C for my consulting work. Additionally, I operate a small business as an LLC and file another Schedule C for it. Can I combine estimated tax payments for both entities?
Oh, so 2 separate LLCs?
They are employed as a consultant and receive that 1099 form, and then they also have an LLC, and
Oh, yeah.
they file a Schedule C for both.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not an accountant, and I've
Yeah,
never had to do it myself, so I don't know. I think my understanding though is see when you're when you're a single member like that and you're the LLC and you're doing the Schedule C, it's all going to flow up to the same place. So whether or not as that single member, you know what? I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to try and answer that one. It might be a question for an accountant or
yeah,
when you're going through the process and it's asking you, does it specifically ask you, what are you paying into? It might ask you for your business name, legal name. It may ask you for the business tax ID. Then clearly you can't combine your other 1099 because it's 2 separate tax IDs. One is your social security number and one is your EIN. So if that might be evident as you're doing it, that it's asking you for identification. And if that's the case, those are 2 totally separate tax, even though it's all in the end may flush out to, in the end, you've paid the, whatever. When you're doing it and they're asking to identify where is this estimated coming from, then at that point you have to keep it within the realm of the LLC. You can't be commingling. So I'm thinking probably no, but
yeah. That's definitely a question to ask an accountant,
yeah.
someone to ask.
Yeah.
We always say here at NJSBDC that even even if as an account we bring in an accountant, for example, we had a tax webinar 2 weeks ago or last week, I believe, 2 weeks ago, I think. And he was an accountant, he's a bookkeeper, he's a CPA, Victor Garrido, but even then, as an NJSBDC consultant, if he was an NJSBDC consultant, or if an NJSBDC consultant, you're speaking to them, we always say that we are not your CPA or we are not your accountant. So always do your due diligence and please reach out to your own accountant. So there we go. Someone might be able to help you, but definitely follow up with an accountant. All right, we'll take one more question from Lena, who says, I am uncertain if I registered with the state of New Jersey. If I am receiving the annual report form from the state, from the New Jersey Department of the Treasury, does that indicate that I am registered?
No.
Yeah.
No, and it's such a good question, and honestly, it confuses me a little bit too, because you think it's all one department. But if the $75 notification for annual fees is result of you forming a certificate and forming an LLC and getting a certificate of formation, that is not generated or prompted from the registration process. So no, the registration is something different and it's for tax purposes. Remember, the $75 filing annual dues is for the maintenance and good standing of the legal and LLC entity in itself. Registering for tax purposes is a separate thing.
Yep. All right, that concludes our Q&A session. Okay.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. We had a very good crowd today, so that's always an awesome thing. Let me share my screen now. I'll try to do it correctly this time. Please let me know. Okay. All right, so are we on the NJSBDC page?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you, Vanessa, so much.
Thank you.
Let me just quickly show everybody the site that we talk about, NJSBDC. So this is njsbdc.com, the site that we always say it's a great resource for you to check out for a minute or two. I know I am biased, but I think we offer, it's a great resource and we offer a lot of different things, a lot of resources to look into. So for example, this toolkit that we have, the events, statewide events, our events schedule, calendar, our blog, our podcast, so many different things aside from the toolkit. This right here, the red button for request counseling, that is for non-startup counseling. So if you have any other concerns aside from Vanessa and her team, startup, then you go here, put in your email, select your county from New Jersey, and then you request counseling, for example, marketing, bookkeeping, accounting, QuickBooks, anything, business plan, marketing plan, things like that. That's what you do that here. For Vanessa, to speak to Vanessa and her team, that would be njsbdc.com/startup. That's what you would put. Let me quickly show our video library that I talk about. This is where all our webinars go. So for example, the taxes webinar that I just talked about 5 minutes ago, it was this one. Then all the other webinars, I know people were interested, and then this pop-up happens, you put in your email, and yes, you do click send me events because it's a great way to stay connected with our network. So I know there was interest in QuickBooks classes. I am not exactly sure if I can tell you we have a QuickBooks webinar lined up. However, see this title here, Mastering Expenses with QuickBooks Online. This is just one of the webinars that we have on QuickBooks. If you just keep loading, we have hundreds and hundreds of webinars, whether it's in the tech space, whether it's in SBIR, CTR, whether it's in marketing, whether it was like cybersecurity, we have great webinars on that. Statewide events, quickly. So we have the map that I was trying to show earlier, that map and the regional centers that you have, this is where all the events from those regional centers come in. So there might be some webinars and events that might charge you a small fee. They may be free, they may be in person, they may be online. So there may be some events and webinars in Spanish, for example, right here, February 27th. We do offer counseling in Spanish, and we do offer events in Spanish. So if you'd like to speak to a Spanish speaking consultant, please reach out and let us know. And one more thing that I just want to quickly show that Vanessa talked about, this is the njportal.com. This is the website that you would go to for all your small business services needs. It's an interesting website to check out. I would say take your time and check out, all these different things. Just go through them. All right, that concludes my little spiel about NJSBDC.com. Moving on. What is our next event? So upcoming webinar on Thursday, this Thursday, on February 22nd, Mastering Google My Business, Elevate Your Small Business Online. It's with our marketing consultant, Marjorie. And same time, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Scan to register, or just go to that website that I just showed you and look for this. All right, we'll always have a lot of fun, interesting things happening in our webinars. So we always appreciate you joining us, supporting us. We've helped 15,000 plus small businesses grow in the past 45 years. We appreciate your support always. Again, no cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, exclusive small resources, and go to njsbdc.com and check out. So that is it from us. That is it from me. I hope to see you next Thursday, this coming Thursday, for another webinar. Take care, stay cozy, stay warm, and see you on Thursday. Bye.